You can have a leadership game plan for your life. Leadership is one of my passions. So is teaching it. I've dedicated more than 30 years of my life to helping others learn what I know about leading. In fact, I spend about 80 days every year teaching leadership. In the last several years, I've taught about it on 6 continents. The subject is inexhaustible. Why? Because everything rises and falls on leadership. If you want to make a positive impact on the world, learning to lead better will help you do it. In all the years that I've taught about leadership, there's been one lecture that I have been asked to give more often than any other, from West Point to Microsoft, and in countries all around the world. That lecture explains how leadership works, and it provides a game plan for learning how to become a leader. It's the 5 levels of leadership. My belief that everything rises and falls on leadership solidified in 1976, and it set me on a leadership journey that I'm still traveling to this day. I began the journey by asking many questions. How do you define leadership? What is a leader? How does leadership work? Unfortunately, people's usual answers to those questions are not very helpful. Some people identify leadership with obtaining a leadership position. But I've known bad leaders who had good positions and good leaders who had no position at all. Haven't you? Other people say of leadership, I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it. While that may be true, it doesn't help anyone learn how to lead. The conclusion I came to early on is that leadership is influence. If people can increase their influence with others, they can lead more effectively. As I reflected on that, a concept for how leadership works began to crystallize in my mind. That concept was the 5 levels of leadership, which took me about 5 years to develop. I have been teaching it ever since. And whenever I present it, one of the questions people always ask is, when are you going to write a book about this? As you can tell, I'm finally answering that question. You can learn practical leadership tools. There are a lot of books about leadership lining people's bookshelves. Why should you pay attention to this one? Because it works. The 5 levels has been used to train leaders in companies of every size and configuration, from small businesses to Fortune 100 companies. It has been used to help nonprofit organizations understand how to lead volunteers, and it has been taught in more than 120 countries around the world. Every time I talk about it, people ask questions and make observations. Those things have helped the 5 levels of leadership to become stronger and to develop greater depth. The concept is tested and proven. In addition, it offers several other benefits. The 5 levels of leadership provides a clear picture of leadership. How do people get a handle on leadership? For those who are not naturally gifted for it, leadership can be a mystery. For them, leading people is like walking down a dark corridor. They have a sense of where they want to go, but they can't see ahead, and they don't know where the problems and pitfalls are going to lie. For many people in the academic world, leadership is a theoretical exercise, an equation whose variables are worthy of research, study, and rigorous debate. In contrast, the 5 levels of leadership is visually straightforward, so anyone can learn it. The 5 levels of leadership defines leading as a verb, not a noun. Leadership is a process, not a position. There was a time when people used the terms leadership and management interchangeably. I think most people now recognize that there is a significant difference between the two. Management is at its best when things stay the same. Leadership deals with people and their dynamics, which are continually changing. They are never static. The challenge of leadership is to create change and facilitate growth. Those require movement, which, as you will soon see, is inherent in moving up from one level of leadership to the next. The 5 levels of leadership breaks down leading into understandable steps. The subject of leadership can be overwhelming and confusing. Where does leadership start? What should we do first? What processes should we use? How can we gain influence with others? How can we develop a productive team? How do we help followers become leaders in their own right? The 5 levels of leadership gives answers to these questions using understandable steps. The 5 levels of leadership provides a clear game plan for leadership development. Too often when people think of their journey into leadership, they envision a career path. What they should be thinking about is their own leadership development. Good leadership isn't about advancing yourself. It's about advancing your team. The 5 levels of leadership provides clear steps for leadership growth. Lead people well and help members of your team to become effective leaders, and a successful career path is almost guaranteed. The 5 levels of leadership aligns leadership practices, principles, and values. When I developed the 5 levels, I conceived of each level as a practice that could be used to lead more effectively. As time went by, and I used and taught the levels, I realized that they were actually principles. Here's the difference. A practice is an action that may work in one situation but not necessarily in another. A principle is an external truth that is as reliable as a physical law. For example, when Solomon said, "A gentle answer turns away every wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger," he stated a principle that is universal and timeless. Principles are important because they function like a map, allowing us to make wise decisions. If we embrace a principle and internalize it, it becomes a part of our values. The 5 levels influences my leadership life every day. Overview of the 5 levels of leadership. Each of the subsequent sections of this audiobook is dedicated to one of the 5 levels. In them you will learn the upside of the level, the downside, the best behaviors for that level, the beliefs that help a leader move up to the next level, and how the level relates to the laws of leadership. If you are already familiar with the laws of leadership, your understanding will be enhanced by seeing how they fit into the 5 levels. But even if you are new to the laws, you will understand the basic concept behind each and how it is applicable. There is also a growth guide for each level. However, before we dive into the levels, I want to give you an overview of them and how they fit together, as well as share some insights about the levels. Level number 1, position. Position is the lowest level of leadership, the entry level. The only influence a positional leader has is that which comes with the job title. People follow because they have to. Positional leadership is based on the rights granted by the position and title. Nothing is wrong with having a leadership position. Everything is wrong with using position to get people to follow. Position is a poor substitute for influence. People who make it only to level 1 may be bosses, but they are never leaders. They have subordinates, not team members. They rely on rules, regulations, policies, and organization charts to control their people. Their people will only follow them within the stated boundaries of their authority, and their people will usually do only what is required of them. When positional leaders ask for extra effort or time, they rarely get it. Positional leaders usually have difficulty working with volunteers, younger people, and the highly educated. Why? Because positional leaders have no influence, and these types of people tend to be more independent. Position is the only level that does not require ability and effort to achieve. Anyone can be appointed to a position. Level number 2, the permission level. Level 2 is based entirely on relationships. On the permission level, people follow because they want to. When you like people and treat them like individuals who have value, you begin to develop influence with them. You develop trust. The environment becomes much more positive, whether at home, on the job, at play, or while volunteering. The agenda for leaders on level 2 isn't preserving their position. It's getting to know their people and figuring out how to get along with them. Leaders find out who their people are. Followers find out who their leaders are. People build solid, lasting relationships. You can like people without leading them, but you cannot lead people well without liking them. That's what level 2 is about. Level 3, production. One of the dangers of getting to the permission level is that a leader may be tempted to stop there. But good leaders don't just create a pleasant working environment, they get things done. That's why they must move up to level 3, which is based on results. On the production level, leaders gain influence and credibility, and people begin to follow them because of what they have done for the organization. Many positive things begin happening when leaders get to level 3. Work gets done, morale improves, profits go up, turnover goes down, and goals are achieved. It is also on level 3 that momentum kicks in. Leading and influencing others becomes fun on this level. Success and productivity have been known to solve a lot of problems. As legendary former NFL quarterback Joe Namath said, "When you're winning, nothing hurts." On level 3, leaders can become change agents. They can tackle tough problems and face thorny issues. They can make the difficult decisions that will make a difference. They can take their people to another level of effectiveness. Level number 4, people development. Leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. That is what leaders do on level 4. They use their position, relationships, and productivity to invest in their followers and develop them until those followers become leaders in their own right. The result is reproduction. Level 4 leaders reproduce themselves. Production may win games, but people development wins championships. Two things always happen on level 4. First, teamwork goes to a very high level. Why? Because the high investment in people deepens relationships, helps people to know one another better, and strengthens loyalty. Second, performance increases. Why? Because there are more leaders on the team, and they help to improve everybody's performance. Level 4 leaders change the lives of the people they lead. Accordingly, their people follow them because of what their leaders have done for them personally, and their relationships are often lifelong. Level number 5, pinnacle. The highest and most difficult level of leadership is the pinnacle. While most people can learn to climb to levels 1 through 4, level 5 requires not only effort, skill, and intentionality, but also a high level of talent. Only naturally gifted leaders ever make it to this highest level. What do leaders do on level 5? They develop people to become level 4 leaders. If people are respectful, pleasant, and productive, they can establish a degree of influence with others and gain followers with relative ease. Developing followers to lead on their own is difficult. Most leaders don't do it because it takes so much more work than simply leading followers. However, developing leaders to the point where they are able and willing to develop other leaders is the most difficult leadership task of all. But here are the payoffs. Level 5 leaders develop level 5 organizations. They create opportunities that other leaders don't. They create legacy in what they do. People follow them because of who they are and what they represent. In other words, their leadership gains a positive reputation. As a result, level 5 leaders often transcend their position, their organization, and sometimes their industry. Insights into the 5 levels of leadership. Now that you are acquainted with the levels, I want to share 10 insights that will help you to understand how the levels relate to one another. Number 1. You can move up a level, but you never leave the previous one behind. Now that you've seen the levels and learned the basics about them, you may assume that a leader climbs them, leaving one to arrive at the next, similar to the way one moves up a staircase. But the truth is that you never leave a level behind after you've achieved it. Instead, you simply build upon it. If you think about it for a moment, you'll agree that it makes sense. If you start out with a leadership position and you build relationships with the people you oversee, do you resign your position to do so? No. You don't leave your position to advance, but if you win level 2 correctly, you never need to rely on your position again. Once you've built relationships with people and moved to a higher level of productivity, Do you abandon or neglect those relationships? You had better not. If you do, you'll find yourself back down at level 1 again. Leaders don't trade one level for another. They add a new level to the previous one. It is a building process. Number 2, you are not on the same level with every person. Leadership is dynamic, and it changes from relationship to relationship. The same is true for the 5 levels of leadership. I may be on a different one of the 5 levels with each of 5 different people at my job. Someone the first day on the job will acknowledge only my position, while someone in whom I've invested and whom I've raised up to lead will likely put me on level 4. If I've been a good father at home, I may be on level 4 with my children. If I've been an absentee dad, I may be on level 1. With my next-door neighbor, perhaps I'm on level 2. Have you ever cast vision with your team and had a variety of responses to the same piece of communication? To what do you attribute that? Different backgrounds of the listeners? Different intelligence levels? Different levels of training or experience? Different personalities? I believe all of those factors can come into play, but often the most impacting factor is the level of leadership you're on with each person. People will respond to you based on the level of leadership you're on with them, and that is subject to change. Achieving a level of leadership is not like earning a degree, nor is it like setting a record as an athlete. You don't achieve it and leave it. It's more like having to run a race every day to prove your ability. The lone exception is the pinnacle. Leaders who rise to level 5 are sometimes given credit for being on that level by reputation instead of just personal interaction. But it's important to note that at any level, a leader doesn't always automatically stay at that level. You must earn your level of leadership with each person, and that level can go up or down at any time. Number 3, the higher you go, the easier it is to lead. Here's some good news. As you work to climb up the levels of leadership, you'll find that it gets easier to lead people. Each advance allows you to be more effective in leading others because your influence increases as you go to a higher level. As your influence increases, more people follow you more readily. Limited influence, limited leadership. Greater influence, greater effectiveness. That's common sense. However, there's also some bad news. It's not easy to climb the levels of leadership. If it were easy, everyone would be a level 5 leader. Number 4, the higher you go, the more time and commitment is required to win a level. Which is harder, being given a leadership position, level 1, or getting people's permission to lead them, level 2? That's pretty obvious. It takes time, effort, and commitment to develop positive relationships with people. How about moving from level 2 to level 3? I believe it is harder to become consistently productive than it is to make friends. It's even harder and requires much more time to go to level 4, where you develop people to become good leaders. And it can take a lifetime to become a level 5 leader who develops leaders who in turn develop other leaders. Years ago, I remember seeing a Ziggy cartoon by Tom Wilson, in which the hero of the strip was on the road to success, and up ahead he could see a sign that said, "Prepare to stop for tolls." That would be good advice for anyone wanting to rise up the 5 levels of leadership. There is no easy way to get to the top, and each time you go up, you pay. You have to be more committed, you have to give more, you have to use more energy each time you want to go up a level. And so do your people. Nobody achieves anything great by giving the minimum. No teams win championships without making sacrifices and giving their best. Number 5, moving up levels occurs slowly, but going down can happen quickly. As I've said, it takes time to climb up the levels of leadership. I've had people ask me, how long will it take me to become a level 5 leader? A lot longer than you think is my answer. Building always takes a lot longer than destroying. A lot of things have to be right to climb to a higher level, but sometimes it takes only one thing going wrong to cause someone to fall. For example, Think about how long it takes to build a great relationship with a person. But if you do something to lose trust with that person, the relationship can become permanently broken in the blink of an eye. While it's unsettling to think about how quickly one can fall from a level of leadership, I hope you can take solace in this. Once you've climbed up to higher levels, the ones below you function as a safety net. So the more you've advanced up the levels, the more secure your leadership is. For example, if you make some bad decisions on level 3 that ruin your productivity or that of the team, the relationships you develop may save you from being fired. The only level without a safety net is the lowest one, position. You don't get too many chances to make mistakes on that level. That's another good reason to work your way up the levels of leadership. Number 6, the higher you go, the greater the return. You may give more to climb to higher levels of leadership, but you get more too. As a leader, your return on investment increases with each level. On level 2, you earn trust and the right to lead. On level 3, you add to the productivity of the organization. On level 4, you multiply that productivity because every time you add another leader to an organization, you add all the horsepower of that leader's team. On level 5, the growth and productivity become exponential as you add leaders to the organization who not only lead others, but also create generations of leadership development that keep on producing. The better the leaders are in an organization, the better everyone in the organization becomes. When productivity is high, chemistry is good, morale is high, and momentum is strong, then the payoffs increase. Number 7, moving farther up always requires further growth. Each time a leader moves up to a higher level of leadership, greater skill is required. For that reason, each step of growth requires further development on the part of the leader. But here's the good news. Each level of leadership achieved functions as a platform from which the leader can grow into the next. Here's how this works. To grow to a new level, leaders take risks. At the lower levels, the risks are smaller and more easily won. For example, to make the climb from level 1 to level 2, leaders risk initiating relationships. When leaders get to higher levels, the risks get bigger. For example, on level 3, leaders may rally the team to try to accomplish a lofty goal only to fail. That could cost the leader credibility, stop momentum, and demotivate team members. But here's the good news. Every risk at a higher level is a natural extension of the skills that leaders have by then developed. Outsiders might look at a leader and say, wow, he really stepped out and took a big risk. But those observers may not see the growth that has occurred in the leader. By the time the next risk must be undertaken, the leader has grown into it. Growing as a leader requires a combination of intentional growth and leadership experience. If people rely only on experience without intentionally learning and preparing for the next level, they won't progress as leaders. On the other hand, if they only prepare mentally yet obtain no experience through risk and reward and trial and error, then they still won't progress. It takes both, plus some amount of talent. But you have no control over how much talent you possess. You control only what you do with it. You see this dynamic when athletes try to move up from the college ranks to the pros. They all have a degree of talent. What helps those who succeed are intentional growth and experience. The athletes who rely only on their college experience often don't make it. And the ones who prepare mentally and physically but never get actual game experience often have the same negative outcome. It takes both to be successful. If you possess a natural gift for leadership, you probably have a passion for growth. You like to see things build. It's part of your wiring. Go with it. If you have a more modest amount of talent, don't lose hope. You can make up for a lot by becoming a highly intentional student of leadership, thereby making the most of every opportunity. Either way, remember that success at any level helps you to become successful at every level. So work hard to win the level you're on now. It will prepare you for the future. Number 8, not climbing the levels limits you and your people. The law of the lid in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership states, leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. In short, your effectiveness in getting things done and your ability to work through others is always limited by your leadership. If your leadership is a 4 out of 10, then your effectiveness will be no higher than a 4. Additionally, the law of respect says people naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. That means that if you remain a 4, then you will never attract and keep any leaders better than a 3. One of the burdens of leadership is that as we go, so go the people we lead. Reaching our potential sets an environment for others to reach theirs. When leaders stop climbing, 2 questions need to be asked. Can they improve, and will they improve? Some people can't. They've reached their limit. Others won't. Capacity is not the problem. Choice and attitude are. If people are willing to choose improvement and change their attitude, the sky is the limit. Your leadership ability today is whatever it is. You can't change the past. However, you can change the future. You have a choice concerning your leadership ability from this day forward. If you learn to climb the levels of leadership, your leadership ability will improve, and that will positively impact your overall leadership capacity. However, if you choose not to grow as a leader, you better get used to being wherever you currently are, because your situation isn't likely to improve. Number 9. When you change positions or organizations, you seldom stay at the same level. What happens when leaders make a job change and begin leading a new group of people? If you assume that they stay on the same level of leadership, you are mistaken. Every time you lead different people, you start the process over again. People don't recognize you as a level 4 people developer when you haven't worked with them. You have to earn that. The same goes for levels 3 and 2. You start over at level 1. However, there is good news. If you reach level 4 with some other group of people, you already know how to get there. And because you have done it before, you can move up the levels much more quickly than the previous time. Each time you go through the process with a new group of people, you become even more skilled at it. And after you've done it enough times, you won't be discouraged by the prospect of having to repeat it with others. For example, for 25 years, I led in the religious world. In that time, I worked in 4 different organizations. In each of them, I had to climb the levels of leadership with the people there. Fortunately, in that world, I was able to reach level 4 with many people, even many who were outside of those particular organizations. However, when I started teaching leadership in the business world, everything changed. I started back at level 1 with many people. I didn't let that intimidate or discourage me. I was willing to prove myself and work my way up through the levels again. And now, 15 years later, I'm enjoying the credibility I've earned by developing relationships, being productive in that world, and developing leaders. Positional leaders are reluctant to have to start over because they think of leadership as a destination instead of a process, a noun instead of a verb. They want to hold on to what they have. Their hope is to do it once and be done. Good leaders are willing to re-earn their way back into leadership because they understand that the leadership life will almost always require them to start again at the bottom more than once. Number 10. You cannot climb the levels alone. One of my favorite sayings is, if you think you're leading but no one is following, then you are only taking a walk. That thought captures the true nature of leadership and also expresses the most important insight about the 5 levels of leadership. To succeed as a leader, you must help others follow you up the levels. If people aren't following you, you're not moving up from level 1 to level 2 and 3. If other people following you up the levels aren't becoming leaders themselves, then you haven't reached level 4. And if the people you're developing aren't on level 4 developing generations of leaders, then you will not achieve level 5. The entire process includes other people and focuses on helping them. As Quaker leader C.W. Perry said, leadership is accepting people where they are, then taking them somewhere. That's what the 5 levels of leadership is all about. It's time to go to the next level. I trust that now you have a basic understanding of the 5 levels of leadership and how it works. But I'm guessing that by now you're asking yourself, What level am I on with most of my people? I make this assertion because every time I teach the 5 levels, that is a question people want answered. I'll help you to do that in a moment. But first let me say this. Understanding the 5 levels of leadership and knowing what level you're on with each person will determine how you lead them. Good leaders do not lead everyone the same way. Why? Because every person is different, and you're not on the same level of leadership with every person. Effective leaders interact with followers based on where they are with that specific follower, where the follower perceives the leader to be, and where the followers are in their own leadership development. Each of these factors comes into play as you evaluate your leadership and work to develop it. I believe every person has the ability to improve in leadership. Becoming a leader isn't a mystical subject. It can be approached very practically, and everyone has the potential to move up to a higher level of leadership. What is your potential? Do you have the capacity and the desire to become a level 3, 4, or 5 leader? There's only one way to find out. Accept the leadership challenge, give growth your best effort, and dive into leadership. If you're willing to pick up the gauntlet, you'll never regret it, because there is no better way to increase your positive impact on the world and add value to others than to increase your leadership ability. I believe this audiobook, with its guides for growth at each level, will help you to navigate the process and help you climb. So, happy listening, good growing, and as my friend Zig Ziglar says, I'll see you at the top.